Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Twins Week in Baseball. Today's shortened edition will cover two offline games played between the Royals and the Twins, and the other half of a two-game series played with the Braves. Now, the first game of the series against the Royals was Yordano Ventura versus Kyle Gibson, in a game that went extra innings. And if you'd like to see that, please go back and take a look at that on my channel. And then we'll continue to game two. This was Dylan G against Tyler Duffy. And there was a lot of scoring early. Paulo Orlando led off the top half of the first with a single, and then Chesler Cuthbert takes Kyle Gibson deep, and the Royals take a 2-0 lead. Then we go to the bottom half of the first. Robbie Grossman with a one-out single. He goes to second on a ground out by Joe Mauer and scores on a Miguel Sano double. Then Sano would score on a Jorge Polanco base hit. That's only his 10th RBI on the year, but it's enough to give the Twins a tie game. Then in the bottom half of the second, the Twins take the lead take the lead. Kurt Suzuki was hit by a pitch leading off the bottom of the second. And then Brian Dozier moves him to third on a single. And then Robbie Grossman with the deep fly ball to right field scores Suzuki to make it 3-2 Twins. That lead would last until the top half of the seventh when Ryan O'Rourke came in for Tyler Duffy after he pitched 6 innings. However, he promptly gave up the lead. Salvador Perez and Alex Gordon with back-to-back home runs gives the Royals a 4-3 lead. However, things would unravel for the Royals in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Flynn came in, struck out the first guy, but back-to-back singles puts runners on first and third. And then they brought in Joaquim Soria, the Mexicutioner. He got Eduardo Escobar to strike out, but Kurt Suzuki with the big 2-out, 3-run homer puts the Twins up 6-4. Kinsler would come in. He'd shut the door in the 9th. That gives the Twins a 6-4 win. Soria gets the loss, and JT Chagua pitched the top half of the 8th, so he would be the winning pitcher. All right, we'll go to the final game of the series. This is game 118 played. This was Edinson Volquez versus Hector Santiago. And this game would also go down to the end. We start with the top half of the first inning. Paulo Orlando leadoff triple. He would score on a Max Kepler error. That gives the Royals a 1-0 lead. They would expand the lead to 2-0 in the top half of the second when Salvador Perez went deep for the second game in a row. That gives the Royals a 2-1 lead. However, the Twins come roaring back in the bottom half of the second. Juan Centeno reaches on a 2-out error. Goes to second on an Eddie Rosario single. After a Brian Dozier walk, he scores on a Robbie Grossman single, and that makes it 2-1. The Twins would take the lead in the bottom half of the third. Leadoff walk to Kenny Vargas, moves to second on a Max Kepler single, moves to third on a he moves to third on a Jorge Polanco single and scores on an Eduardo Escobar single. So a walk and 3 hits equals a run. And then Juan Centeno hits into a double play, but that's enough to score Max Kepler, and that gives the lead to the Twins 3-2. The Royals would tie the game at 3 in the top half of the fourth when Kendrys Morales takes Hector Santiago deep, and that ties the game at 3. The back and forth game would continue in the bottom half of the fifth. This would be the Peter Moylan in relief. Volquez did not last long at all. He gave up, actually, bottom of the fifth. Okay, so Vasquez started the inning. Eric Hosmer with a rare error. Goes to for Kenny Vargas, goes to third on a Max Kepler double. After a strikeout, Eduardo Escobar with a single, and that would be it after 25 batters in just 4 1/3 innings. Ned Yost gave the hook, and in came Peter Moylan. He got a double play, so that ended the inning. However, the Twins took the lead 4-3 after the bottom of the fifth. However, the Royals came right back in the top half of the sixth. 1-out single by Lorenzo Cain. He goes to third on an Eric Hosmer single and scores on a Kendrys Morales double. Salvador Perez would contribute to the next run. Actually, the Twins defense would. Eduardo Escobar with an error. That scores Hosmer. That puts the Royals back on top 5-4. Actually, that should be... Just realized I had a scoring error. All right, so 5-4. Bottom half of the seventh, this would be... They brought in Matt Strom. He's sort of a specialist. Gave up the leadoff single to Joe Mauer. Then he was pulled for Chen Ming Wong after a walk to Vargas. Fielder's choice erases Vargas, but puts runners on first and third. After a line out to Jorge Polanco, Eduardo Escobar with an RBI double that ties the game at 5. And then the lead would finally go to the Twins in the bottom half of the eighth with Chris Young pitching. Got the first 2 outs, and then poor pitching and poor defense led to the Twins taking the lead. A 1-out walk to Robbie Grossman. A 2-base error by Lorenzo Cain, who's usually sure-handed. And then Kenny Vargas says, I'm taking care of business here. 3-run homer makes it 8-5. That would be the final score as Brandon Kinsler once again pitches a scoreless ninth. Michael Tonkin gets the win as he was the last pitcher to face the Royals in the eighth. And then Chris Young with the loss. All right, the first game of the Twins-Braves series was played on the channel. That was Irvin Santana pitching an absolute masterpiece against the Braves. So if you want to go see a pitcher's game, go see that one. All right, and then the final game of this Twins week in baseball will be Kyle Gibson against Mike Fultonevich. The Twins would get out early. Back-to-back doubles by Jorge Polanco and Max Kepler means a 1-0 lead. The Twins would extend that lead in the top half of the fourth. 1-out double by Juan Centeno. Robbie Grossman with a single moves Centeno to third. And then they let Gibson hit. And on the number 1 pitcher hitting card, if you use the general one that come with the strat set, the only roll that gets a pitcher on base on that card is a 210, and that's a walk, and that's exactly what happened. And that loaded the bases, and Brian Dozier took full advantage of that. 2-run single, that made it 3-0. The Twins would knock out Fultonevich after 5, and that brought in Ryan Weber, who was their long guy. He didn't do very well. Back-to-back walks by Juan Centeno and Robbie Grossman. This time they let Gibson drop down the bunt. And it's a knee bunter. He laid down a perfect bunt to get runners on second and third with 2 outs. And then Brian Dozier once again took full advantage. 2-run double, 4 RBIs on the day. That gives him 64 on the year. And that made it 5-0. You thought the Twins would be cruising, but once again, you don't know this Twins team if you haven't been watching. Bottom of the sixth, they let Gibson start the inning. Leadoff double by Freddie Freeman. Scores on, or 1-out triple by Freddie Freeman. Scores on a Nick Markakis single. Moves to second on a Wrecker single. And then Jace Peterson with an RBI single scores Markakis, and that made it 5-2. The Twins thought they'd be at another insurance run in the top half of the sixth, and they would need this run. Leadoff walk to Max Kepler. This is with Chase Youngner pitching. Moves to third on a single by Trevor Plouffe, and scores on a Kenny Vargas RBI ground out. And then after a walk to Eddie Rosario, in a fielder's choice, moves him to third, and that'd be it for Youngner. That'd be the only one that would score. That made it 6-2. However, the Twins bullpen had a little adventure in the bottom half of the eighth. We started with Michael Tonkin, walked to Markakis, singled to Recker, and then Max Kepler with a two-base error scores Markakis and moves Recker to third. And then Dansby Swanson with a RBI single, a two-run single, that made it 6-5. And then they needed Taylor Rogers to come in. He got the 3 outs in the bottom of the eighth. And then Brandon Kinsler comes in again in the bottom half of the ninth. 1-2-3, shuts the door. And the Twins are victorious 6-5. Now the Twins record at this point is 52-68 after 120 games, which is actually a lot better than what they were doing. Actually, not that much better. Their record after 120 games in the real season was 49-71. So I'm 3 games over. So I've kind of been either hovering a lot over or just a few below. So, all right. That's it for Twins Week in Baseball. This is TriFan879 saying that if you like what you see, please hit the like button and please hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon, and you'll be notified of any videos that are coming out. And whatever games you are playing, may your dice or may your games be lively and your games be good. Have a good day, everybody.